Hi, I'm Dr. Shilpi Tiwari. In this video, I'll be explaining psychosexual theory or psychoanalytical theory of Sigmund Freud. These are the various questions which have been asked in undergraduate and postgraduate examinations related to this particular theory. Psychology, it's the science that deals with the human nature, function, and phenomena of a soul in man. Child psychology, it's the science that deals with the study of child's mind and how it functions. It also deals with the mental power or an interaction between the conscious and subconscious elements in a child. These are the various theories of child psychology. They have been broadly classified into two types. One is psychodynamic theories and behavioral theories. Under psychodynamic theories, we have psychosexual theory given by Sigmund Freud. The second theory is psychosocial theory by Erik Erikson, and the third one is cognitive theory by Jean Piaget. Under behavioral theories, again we have three theories. One is classical conditioning theory by Ivan Pavlov, operant conditioning theory by Skinner, and social learning theory by Bandura. The other relevant theories are hierarchy of needs by Maslow and Margaret S. Mehler theory of development. Now coming to the psychoanalytical theory, the other name for this theory is psychosexual theory given by Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud stated that personality to originate from biological roots, that is basic instincts of an individual, and the differences in personalities occur because of the differences in childhood sexual experiences. He outlined 5 stages of psychosexual development. He described human mind with the help of two models. One is topographic model and the another one is psychic model. Topographic model consists of 3 parts, that is conscious, preconscious and unconscious mind. Conscious mind is nothing but current thinking process, while preconscious mind is the one which is memory that can be easily brought into the conscious mind. Unconscious mind consists of dump boxes of emotional urges and traumatic experiences. It's the process and the content are out of direct reach of the conscious mind. This is the iceberg phenomena of Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud compared human mind with iceberg, the small part of which is seen above the surface of the water, representing conscious mind, while much larger below water level represents the unconscious and preconscious mind. This explains the Sigmund Freud's iceberg phenomena. The conscious mind consists of thoughts and perception. Preconscious mind consists of memories, stored knowledge, fears and doubts, while unconscious mind consists of selfish motives, aggressions and socially unacceptable desires. Psychic triad consists of id, ego and superego. Id is basically based on pleasure principle and it comprises of basic instincts of an individual. It works on primary process thinking. While ego is based on reality principle, it works on the secondary process thinking. While superego is based on moral principles and values. It acts as a policeman of both of them. So here it can be explained through this diagram. Id says, I want it right now, while superego says, you can't have it because it's not right to have it, based upon moral principles and values. While ego says is, you can have it but you need to do a bit of planning. Now, ego deals with the demands of reality, the id and the superego as best as it can. But when anxiety is overwhelming, the ego must defend itself. So it works through ego defense mechanisms. So these mechanisms work by unconsciously blocking the impulses or destroying them into a more acceptable, less threatening form. These are the various different ego defense mechanisms which are occurring in the human brain. They are denial, repression, regression, displacement, projection, rationalization, reaction formation and identification, total 8 in number. Denial is an outright refusal to admit or recognize that something has occurred or is currently occurring. The example for this would be, if a patient is suffering from cancer, he will visit multiple doctors for the denial that he has cancer. Repression is nothing but it's a primary defense mechanism in which unacceptable or unpleasant impulses are pushed back into the unconscious mind. Regression, it's an reversion to an immature pattern of the behavior during the anxious situations. Like whenever you have overwhelming anxiety, you bite your nails, which is a pattern of younger age. Displacement, it's the expression of an unwanted feeling or the thought directed towards a weaker person instead of a more powerful one. So if elder sibling scolds to the younger one take it out to the another younger sibling. That's called as displacement. Projection, it's a defense mechanism in which people attribute their own adequacies or faults to someone else. If I have a bad feeling towards the other person, I projected that the other person has bad feelings towards me. That's called as projection. Rationalization, it's a defense mechanism whereby people justify a negative situation in a way that protects their self-esteem. Example, if you score less in the examination, you rationalize that you had performed very well, but the scoring was done tough. Reaction formation, it reduces anxiety by taking up the opposite feeling, impulses or behavior. That means if you are very upset, you try to show very happy outside in front of everyone. Identification, it's incorporating an external object into one's own personality, making them the part of oneself. One may come to think, act and feel like someone else. Like if someone is Shah Rukh Khan's fan, so he will act and behave like Shah Rukh Khan. So now coming to these two important terminologies, one is erogenous zone and fixation. So erogenous zone is actually what happens at each stage. There are certain areas in which human being feels more tension intensely. These are termed as erogenous zones. These are the zones which are the potential source of frustration and pleasure, or it can be both. While fixation, it's a failure of development in which individual continues to seek a particular kind of gratification even when she has passed out that particular stage in which it was considered to be normal. So now coming to the different psychosexual stages of Sigmund Freud, he has given total 6 stages of psychosexual development from oral stage till genital stage. So oral stage, it is comprised from birth till 18 months, and erogenous zone in this particular stage is oral cavity. Characteristic features we see is that infant is totally dependent on adult for getting his oral needs fulfilled. The objective of this particular phase is satisfaction of oral desires, will help in the development of trust. The particular pathologies we see, if this stage gets fixed, we see smoking, nail biting, drinking, sarcasm habits in later stages of the life. Anal stage comprises from 18 months to 3 years of age. The erogenous zone in this phase will be anal sphincter. Here in this phase, maturation of neuromuscular coordination occurs, increase over voluntary control over anal sphincter increases, and there will be development of personal autonomy and independence. If there is a fixation in this phase, the pathological trait we see is anal expulsive personalities, which are highly disorganized and careless kind of personalities, and anal retentive personalities, which are highly obsessive about cleanliness. Now coming to the next phase, that is urethral stage, which is a transitional stage, and here the erogenous zone will be urinary sphincter, and child derives pleasure from exercising voluntary control over urinary sphincter, while in the end stage it was anal sphincter. Rest other objectives will be same as that of anal stage. Coming to the phallic stage, which will be 3 to 5 years of age. Here the erogenous zone will be genitals. The characteristic features of this phase will be Electra complex, Oedipus complex, fantasies about opposite sex. So Electra complex is when a female child has an attraction towards the father. It's called as Electra complex. A male child having attraction towards his mother is termed as Oedipus complex. Here the objectives of this phase is child realizes the sexual qualities without any embarrassment. If there is a fixation during this phase, the pathological trait which we see for the man is anxiety and guilt about the sex, fear of castration, narcissistic personalities, while in case of women we see sense of envy and inferiority. Latency stage, which is from 0 to 11 years of age, there will be no erogenous zone in this particular phase. Child learns about the social environment around them, cultural values and their own skills. The goal of this particular phase is further development of personality. There will be maturation of ego and there will be mastery over the skills. So lack of inner control or excessive control will result in pathological traits, and there will be immature behavior in a child and there will be decrease in skills. Now coming to the last stage, which is the genital stage, which will be from 11 to 13 years of age. The erogenous zone will be genitals. There will be renewed sexual interest and desire to have relationships in this particular phase. The objectives of this phase is it matures the personality of an individual, and as such there will be no pathological trait of this particular phase, but the unresolved traits from previous phases will be seen in this phase. This completes the psychosexual developmental stages from oral stage, anal stage, urethral stage, phallic stage, latency stage and genital stage. Looking into the merits of Freud's theory, this is the earliest and most comprehensive theory of lifelong psychosexual development. The demerits of Freud's theory are it is based on obsessed observation of the psychologist, and he did study on adult psychological patients. So its application to children is not justified. So here I am completing psychosexual theory of Sigmund Freud. For any questions related to this theory, you can email me on this email ID or you can DM me on my Instagram page, the details of which have been provided over here. Hope this video was helpful for you. Kindly like and share for further updates.